Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we are diving into a really special explainer. We're going to unpack just one singular sentence about human agency. And honestly, it's pretty rare to find source material that is this concise, but just so incredibly packed with weight. I promise you, by the end of this, you're going to look at your daily decision-making in a completely different way. Let's jump right in.
Okay, here it is. Prayer will not do what your brain should do. Just let that sit with you for a second. 10 words. That is literally it. But the gravity of this statement is just immense. It establishes this incredibly strict dichotomy right out of the gate. No sugarcoating, zero wiggle room.
Think about that. Just 10 words, dividing the entire human experience into two totally distinct domains, separated by one absolute boundary. This isn't just a clever bumper sticker, you know? It's a literal blueprint for how we navigate our internal hopes versus our external realities. It demands that we completely recognize the limits of one sphere and the real obligations of the other.
Section 1. Defining the boundaries.
Let's break this down. On one side, we've got prayer, and that's representing the contemplative, spiritual realm of internal hopes and intentions. Then, on the other side, we have your brain, the rational, active realm. Basically, our biological engine for actually getting things done. The text is setting these up as completely different tools in your toolkit. I mean, you wouldn't use a hammer to turn a screw, right? And you definitely can't use thoughts and prayers to fix a leaky sink. They just have entirely different functions.
And that brings us to the real hinge of the whole quote, the phrase, should do. Actually, scratch that. It's not just a phrase, it's an absolute mandate. The text assigns an inescapable obligation directly to our cognitive faculties. By using the word should, it's telling us there's a logical, maybe even moral imperative here. There are tasks out in the real world that belong specifically to your intellect, your logic, and your sweat. Abandoning those tasks isn't just an oopsie, it's a fundamental failure to do your job.
Section 2. The role of intention.
Look at the absolute limit placed here. Will not do. The finality of that phrasing is crazy. It doesn't say prayer might not do it, or rarely does it. It says it absolutely will not, period. What we can deduce here is that contemplation, no matter how earnest or pure it is, just mechanically cannot execute physical tasks. You can sit there and intend to build a house all day long, but intention cannot swing a hammer. It's a hard line. Intention is just not a substitute for mechanics.
Section 3. The power of cognition. So if intention hits a wall, what steps up? Well, if the text says there are things your brain should do that intention literally cannot do, we can figure out exactly what those unique functions are. Your brain is a machine built for planning, reasoning, and executing. It's designed to assess a messy situation, formulate a game plan, and drive your body into action. When you're facing a problem that requires, say, a complicated spreadsheet, or maybe a really difficult conversation, or intense physical effort, you absolutely cannot wish your way through it. That is the domain of cognition.
Section 4. Avoiding the substitution trap.
So what actually happens when we mix up our tools? Think about how this plays out in real life. When your brain tries to do prayer's job, like when we try to logic our way through things that are completely out of our control, we just get massive anxiety, right? We just overthink the uncontrollable. But flip it around. What happens when prayer tries to do the brain's job? This is the core warning of the whole quote. When we use hope as a substitute for cognitive labor, we just stall out. We get total inaction because we're using the completely wrong tool for the job.
The whole takeaway here is that hope cannot replace cognition. Wishing for an outcome is a deeply, deeply valuable human experience. It gives us comfort, it builds resilience, it gives us focus. But the text draws a massive line in the sand, reminding us that wishing can never, ever replace the actual mental sweat required to achieve an outcome. You still have to write the essay. You still have to save the money. You still have to do the math.
Section 5. Striking a balance.
So how do we actually apply this 10-word philosophy to our everyday lives? It's really a simple two-step workflow derived right from that boundary. Step 1. Acknowledge what is truly beyond your control. That is the realm of intention, of hoping, of letting go. Step 2. Engage your brain for what is in your control, meaning aggressively take ownership of the stuff that requires your logic, your planning, and your physical execution. It's literally the perfect division of labor for a healthy, productive life. Before we wrap up, I want to bring us back to the very tail end of that quote. Zoom in on the word your. What your brain should do. The author totally could have said the human brain, but they didn't. They made it personal. And that is the ultimate takeaway of the text, personal responsibility.
Nobody else's brain can fulfill the obligations that belong uniquely to yours. You are the sole architect of your actionable life.
Which leaves us with this really stark question to end on. Where in your life are you currently waiting for an intervention when you actually should be making a plan? Where are you using intention as a shield to avoid doing the hard cognitive work? Take these 10 words with you today, let them get your brain working, and I will see you on the next explainer.